help yourself get up to the next level. She is an author, she is a speaker, but most importantly, she is here with me tonight to help you help yourself ignite and take flight. So many of you saw my earlier broadcast. It was simply amazing with the young ladies helping people to step into their territory. And now that we've helped you to step into your territory, many of you may say, what do I need to do to stay in my territory? How do I keep holding on? How do I keep moving forward? Well, I have the author of the book called God Was Holding My Hand. And she's going to help you tonight understand where your hand is at and how to keep your hand in the hand of the person or the spiritual being with a plan. Please welcome my guest, Mrs. Rachel Arterberry. Hey, Rachel, how you doing?
I'm great, Lotus. How are you? Thanks for having me on tonight.
So wonderful. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. You know, Rachel, we have so many guests that come in and come in. So we're going to let them come on in and get in where they fit in. And I'm going to play a little music so that we can enjoy ourselves because I love funky jazz. Jazz is so amazing. And this little cut right here, folks, is by none other than Dr. Saxlove. Now, I don't own the rights to the music, but I'm giving you some music so you can just move a little bit. And as you come on in, and tell a friend of me, and tell a perfect stranger to come on in and get in where they fit in, because I always got room around my table for you. And so having said that, you see my beautiful guest, the author of God Was Holding My Hand, Mrs. Rachel Arterberry. Now, she and I are going to give you a great show tonight. So come on in. And when you come in, go ahead and put a 2 down in the comment below. I see Dr. Tam Tam is on with us. Hey, Dr. Tam Tam. Now, if you don't know Dr. Tam Tam, you should go back and watch my interview with Dr. Tam Tam. If you got taxes, if you got problems with your money, it is acting funny, you want to see Dr. Tam Tam, and she's going to help you out. We also have Live with Larry, show host and CEO of Live with Larry here. Good to see you, Larry, and thanks for joining us. So if you're coming in, come on in, tell your friends and tell your frenemies, and tell a perfect stranger to come on in, get in where they fit in, because guess what? I've got Mrs. Rachel Arterberry right here with me, and she wrote this fabulous book called what? No, not Experience a Breakthrough. She wrote this book, God Was Holding My Hand, and it helped her have a breakthrough. And we're going to talk about that tonight. So come on in, get in where you fit in, and when you come in, go ahead and put a 2 in the block below and tell us where you're coming in from. And then I'm going to bring Rachel back, Jack. Like I said, Rachel back, Jack. Come on in, and get in where you fit in, because the music is about to go down low. So tonight, again, I've got a phenomenal guest. I let you see her pretty face, and some of you may already know her. Some of you may be acquainted with her work. You may have heard her speak somewhere, giving a lecture, or speaking at a conference, or you may have read her book somewhere. But no matter what, you're going to get acquainted with her tonight, and she's going to help you help yourself to ignite and take flight. So if you don't have a glass of water, go ahead and get you some water so you can take a sip. And also go ahead, get your notepad and get your pen, because we're about to dive in. So, hey, Dexter Sadler, the money doctor. Good to see you, Doc. So, Doc, the music is about to wind down while we get on with Mrs. Rachel Arterberry. Here we go. Hey. All right. So, I am so happy to be here We've been trying to get together for a minute. It's so good to see you. Folks are coming in. Folks are coming in. And if you haven't, folks, if you haven't shared yet, please share, like, and do what? Start a watch party. Go ahead and start a watch party so people can come on in and hear my wonderful guest, Miss Rachel Arterberry, talk to us about a couple interesting points tonight on how she can help you help yourself keep your hand in the hand of the one that has the plan for your life. So, Rachel, thank you so much for coming on the show. I'm so delighted that you're here. It was fabulous to have Michael on the show a couple of weeks ago, and some of you may have caught the broadcast. Her husband is a phenomenal empowerment speaker. He's a coach. He's a trainer. He's just phenomenal. And he was on my show a couple of weeks ago, and I got to tell you, the apple don't fall far from the tree, because Rachel is here with me to delight you and help you help yourself ignite and take flight. So, Rachel, can you please tell our guests a little bit about yourself? I know that you're an author, and I know you're a phenomenal person. You're a speaker and things of that nature. But can you tell us a little bit more about yourself, and then maybe a little bit about your book?
Sure. Thanks, Lotus. So I started out in the corporate world about, 20 something years ago. Lots of degrees. I have master's degrees. I have undergraduate degrees. My dream was to work in the corporate world, to travel the world, to meet new people, to live abroad, until God decided that that was not his plan for me. So our children were young. They were about 8 and 5 maybe. And the Holy Spirit was talking to me saying, this is not for you anymore. Mm-hmm. I worked long hours, and I traveled a lot, and poor Michael was home taking care of these little kids all of the time. And the Holy Spirit just kept telling me, this is not for you. But in the back of my mind, I always had this desire. I always wanted to write since I was a little kid. I had journals, I had notebooks. I still have piles and piles of notebooks that I've written in, but I never thought that I could actually do something with it. So here I am with all of these degrees, a high-powered corporate job, working, 100 hours a week. And yet I had these little kids at home, and I had God telling me, this isn't for you. And I was really confused, and I was really torn between, what do I do? Do I follow what I spent all of these many years of studying doing? Do I forgo this big salary I'm making and keep doing it and be miserable? Which I was. I was miserable. I was cranky. I was irritable. I was tired. I was never with my children, never with Michael. And then finally one day I said, you know what? I need to make a change. In fact, Michael had read a book called The Dream Giver, and he was afraid to tell me about it because he knew that if I heard about this idea of following your dream, that I probably would do something irrational even. So we kind of talked about it a little bit. And then I said to him one day, I said, you know what? I was driving my horrible commute every day, and the Holy Spirit spoke to me and said, you need to leave in this time. I said, oh my gosh, I have to listen now. So I did. And I went to my job, and remember my corporate big time job. And I said to them, you need to terminate my position and let me go. And they said, what, are you crazy? I'd been there a million years. And they said, well, why? I said, because I have bigger plans. And it took me months and months and months, and the Holy Spirit telling me that this is what I'm supposed to do. Finally, they came to their senses, and they said, okay, we're going to do this. We're going to let you go. And that was the start of my writing career, because now I could follow kind of a passion that I had. But at that point now I'm thinking, well, okay, now I know what I want to write something, but what in the world do I do with this? What do I do?
Wow.
It was at the same time. Go ahead.
No, I just wanted to know, because a lot of people, when they move into their passion, it happens just like you're talking about. They go from one day they're doing all this hustle and bustle, and then they decide to step into their territory and they start doing what they love. And I asked Rachel, I said, Rachel, I want you to tell us, how you got started doing what you're doing. And it sounds like to me, like you were saying, you just were running after your passion. You had this great job, you were making great money, but you heard the voice of God letting you know that no, this isn't for you. You need to run after what you've been called to do. So can you tell me and the rest of our viewers what that was like when you started to run after your passion?
Oh my gosh, it was terrifying. It was terrifying because I'm kind of the control freak in the household. So I was terrified because now I am going to jeopardize my family, leaving money, and I knew it was for their good also because again, the kids were little, and now I could spend time with them and do what I loved, and I would be happier. I wouldn't be cranky. I wouldn't be irritable doing it. For his sake too.
Mm-hmm.
But it was terrifying, and it was unknown, and our flesh, we can't handle that. Well, I can't handle that, the uncertainty. And so it was terrifying, especially because now I'm thinking, okay, I have to make a living on my own versus this high powered job I had. But it was like good. I knew exactly that God was telling me. And it was at the same time that Michael, we discovered that he needed surgery on his spinal cord.
Right.
So it was kind of, we always say that God's timing is perfect. Right. Because it was, the same time that I'm deciding that I need to leave my job, that he has this literally life-saving surgery. Mm-hmm. And I needed to be there for him. And I couldn't be running around like I was. Yes. And his story was so amazing that God spoke to me then. And also, and that's where the book title came in, because God was holding my hand. God was holding his hand during his surgery. But in fact, he was holding mine too, because he told me to do all of this. Like he guided me, and he was there supporting me, and he being God, and Michael as well. But it was scary because I was not necessarily the faith-filled person I was before. So this was really hard for me to accept the fact that, oh my gosh, this is out of my control. I'm going to step out in faith. I'm going to do this. I'm going to write a book. I'm going to call it God was holding my hand for both of us. The fact that, again, Michael knew that God was holding his hand through the surgery, but he was holding mine too, guiding me and telling me that this is what I had to do.
You know what I really love is that I heard you say that you were not like the big God person or a Bible beater, if you will, but you came from fear to faith. And you said, Michael was already, he was saying, okay, I believe, and I believe everything's going to be okay. But what helped you to step from fear to faith?
Well, so of course, Michael's faith carries the whole family. And he encourages the rest of us to lean on faith and to lean on God. And that's really hard for me. That's really, really hard for me because that's not what I grew up knowing. In my house, you went to church because you had to go to church. That was it. You sat, stood, kneeled just because you were supposed to, not because I had a relationship with God.
Right.
So now as I grew older, I knew I had to lean on God, and I developed a relationship with him versus just doing what I was told. But now I knew that if I was hearing from God, I had to listen, because in reality, I feel like I've only heard from him several times in my life. And one of them was, again, most recently. And but I feel like when he's talking to me, I better listen. So it's been my faith journey has been very long. And it's been 15, 20 years coming, but now I hear from him, and when I hear, I have to listen.
That's wonderful. And I want to say, Hey, Dr. Sadler, good to see you again. San Antonio, Texas, good to see you. Stepping into her territory, the author, Miss Sean Saxton, she said, wow, she admires that you just moved. You moved and you stepped into your territory. But she also says that she loves your transparency. You're being very transparent. You're talking about your fears. You're talking about how do I move from this well-paying job to doing my own book, being my own boss. And then when all of this happens and I make this leap of faith, then my husband, he gets ill. He has to have surgery. I think he was in a wheelchair for quite a while. Is that right?
So he was in a wheelchair when he first came home from the hospital, but he walks, but using the scooter. So but God brought him through that too.
Amen. Amen. And Angela out of DC, good to see you. And the phenomenal Guinness World Record holder, Robert J. Moore, all the way out of Canada. It's great to see you. Robert said, I hear you. He hears what you're saying and it resonates with him. He said, I got really sick at my Guinness World Records event and could not host it, but I asked God to protect all the other people and help me recover. Talk about respect. So let's talk about using that faith. And thank you, Robert. Let's talk about how we use faith, how we move from fear into faith, and how when we walk in faith, how do doors open for us? Or do doors open for us? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So again, faith was always difficult for me to let go and let God. So I still struggle with that. Just to tell you a little bit more. So after I left my big company and started writing, I was writing, but I also got a job. And I say the difference between my career and my job, I had a job so I could be close to home and pay the bills, right? While I was walking in my destiny. But recently, God started talking to me again, and he started telling me that this job was going to end, and that it was the door. He was opening the door for me because he knew my heart. And he knew my heart that all of these years I've wanted to be completely independent. So originally my goal was to be independent. I started working somewhere, but now he knew that my goal was to be completely independent of somebody, of a boss, so to speak, and to work on my own. So he worked it out that awesome. I lost my job just recently. And, most people would say, oh my gosh, you lost your job. But you know what? This was a blessing. It was a great thing because God also knew that I may not have the courage to step out and quit, right? He said, you know what? I know you're not going to do this if I don't do something for you at this point. So because of fear, I was afraid.
Right.
So he, like you have there, he opened a better door. He opened the door for me. And now, here we are, we're all on quarantine at home, and God's given me so many opportunities to work with new clients, to help people write their books, to do what I love. And I'm really enjoying it. And I'm so thankful for it.
And not only did God do that, but God did some other magnificent things for you too. And what we're going to do, we're going to take a moment to let everybody continue. Come on in, get your notepad, get your pen, because what Rachel is talking about, she is talking about how she moved from fear to faith, and she became the dynamic writer and the dynamic speaker that she is. So I'm going to challenge you. If you haven't yet, share this with anyone and everyone you know, because this is an inspirational story that's going to help people grow. And Rachel, if you've not shared this on your page, share it on your page, and also tell your friends and your family and your frenemies to share it on their page. Share it with the world so we can get the message out, because this is a message of hope, healing, and overcoming fears by a person who really did it, and she has the works to show it. So share, like, and start a watch party. So also, besides being a writer, you opened up your heart and you moved from fear into faith and you became a writer and you wrote your book. But not only did you do that, you also opened up your heart to other people who wanted to write books, but maybe
Yes.
weren't able to write books or didn't know how to write books. And so you started doing something that I don't know if you really knew, like, okay, I can do this. You started ghostwriting and
Yes.
editing. So tell us about that. How did that all come into play? Because you went from a posh job to I'm quitting, my husband having surgery, we got to make more money, but I'm not going back to my job.
Mhm.
I'm gonna start writing, and then you became a ghostwriter as well as an editor. How did that happen?
Yeah, it's saying it out loud as you're doing it kind of sounds a little surreal to me. Um, but it makes me smile because it's been a great journey. I I knew that I wanted to write, but I didn't really enjoy writing under my own name. It wasn't like I needed to say, I'm an author. I have this many books under my belt. What I really, really enjoyed was helping other people. So I started my business and I called it Making a Way. I called it Making a Way because God made a way for me and I am making a way for other people because I believe that everybody has a story. Everybody has a story, no matter what it is. It doesn't have to be that you've gone through something traumatic or have had a hard life. Everybody has something to share with the world. Some people want to share it with their families. Some people want to share it for business purposes. Some people want to share it to make money or to say they're a published author. But whatever the reason is, I can make a way for them to do that. So that's what I really like to do. I don't need to have my name on the cover to say, I've published this many books because that's not who I am. I like to help people bring their words to life, and that's kind of how I like my tagline is kind of bringing your words to life. Um, I I feel that I've got a gift that I can share. Not everybody can write. Not everybody has the same gifts, and I truly believe that God gave us each our own gifts. I don't, have the same gifts as you, Lotus. So, but my gift is in the ability to bring your words to life, and that's where I feel that I'm gifted, and that's where I'm supposed to be.
Wow,
So
that's awesome.
it feels right. It feels comfortable to me.
Awesome. I've heard some of the greatest of the greats say that when you're walking in your purpose, it will make way for your dreams. So not only are you walking in your purpose, but you're helping to bring others' words to life. And even the Bible says the power of life and death is, in the power of the tongue. So if you have words to
Mhm.
share, and I challenge each and every one of you that are listening to this broadcast, don't stifle yourself. Bring your words to life because it might not be your life that you save, but it might be someone else's life that you save. So let me ask you this. I know you've
Right.
had so many authors that come to you and you do a phenomenal job with helping put their words to life. So when you bring their words to life, have you had anyone that just felt like they weren't going to make it? Where they felt like there's no way I could do this, and you said, you know what, we're making a way, we're going to help you get to where you need to be. Have you
Yes,
ever had anybody that was just so broke down that seemed that they couldn't do it?
absolutely. And I have a whole bunch of stories. I have a young woman that I'm working with right now. She has stage 4 breast cancer. She has 2 young children under the age of 6, and she just buried her husband 2 years ago from stomach cancer.
Wow.
Her whole purpose in writing this book is to tell her children about who she was and who her husband was, who their father was. And she keeps telling me, I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do this. But I keep telling that she needs to do it because that is how her children are gonna. They're too young to remember her if she passes in
Yes.
great detail, and so she has to bring her words to life. She has
Yes.
to make them audible for her kids. So if
Yes.
she doesn't beat this, then they know that she loved them, that she did all of these things for them, but that there was something else that she couldn't, she couldn't battle. But
Wow.
sometimes it's tough because I'm trying to inspire her and
Mhm.
bring the words out of her. She knows what she wants to say, and a lot of people, they know what they want to say, but they just can't put it on paper. And that's really where I come in. I can take your words
Mhm.
and make them readable. I can make them give people the feeling of being there with you. Or
Awesome.
so
Awesome.
it's a good feeling, especially with this young woman, to know
Yes.
that I can help with her legacy.
Yes. And I want to share this with you because Sean Lovely Saxton said for her it was difficult trusting God. She said I had trust issues and I wouldn't release my will to God. He is gentle and will give you little things to trust him in. So what are your thoughts on that? Because every day when you're working with people, they have to trust you, but you got your hand in the hand of the person or the other powers that has the plan. So how do you encourage people and to say, and to exercise their ability to trust not only in God but also to trust you?
So, Lotus, I read that the young lady's note there, and I agree. I have trust issues too. So, trust issues in God, because in for me, I could always do it better. I could always do it bigger, better. Why would I trust that he could do it? And that was my upbringing. That was my mentality because I didn't have a relationship with him. So I
Mhm.
didn't trust him that he could do it because for in my own brain,
Mhm.
uh, I could do it better. But I've had to let go, and as I said before, let go and let God.
Mhm.
Um, and I still struggle. I still struggle with trusting him.
Mhm.
But you're right. I have to get people to trust me that I'm going to do what I say I'm going to do,
Mhm.
and that I'm going to bring their words to life,
Mhm.
and that I'm going to help them put out their best product for whatever reason,
Yes.
whether again it's a legacy or
Mhm.
a business book. But I have to trust that he's going to work through me
Mhm.
and help them. But yeah, I agree. Sometimes that
Mhm.
letting go of my own will is really hard.
Yes. And I love that because I wanted to bring this back up because Sean Lovely Jackson said this earlier that you're so transparent. So let me ask you this. And those of you that are watching, go ahead and put a 3 down below. Put a 3 down below if you really like working with people who are transparent, who are not going to tell you, well, I don't have issues or nothing like that. I'm so perfect. But people who are really going to tell you the truth as they work with you to help you work through whatever it is that you're going through. Because this is one thing I know, people don't need perfect people. People need people with experiences because it's our experiences in life that help people get through the experiences that they're going through at the time that they're experiencing whatever they're experiencing. So if you like people who are transparent with you, put a 3 in the comment below. So having said that, Sean Lovely Saxton left that, and I want to thank you, Sean. But Rachel, having said that, have you found that transparency comes easy to you, even though you have trust issues? You're just so transparent.
It doesn't always come easy to me because I'm guarded, and um, it's hard. That's definitely hard to be transparent, but uh, I have to be. I feel like I have to be, because we can't walk around this world being anything other than authentic, right? You've met my husband, so
Yes.
you know that that you can't be anything but. Um,
Yes.
so, but it's I definitely struggle with that. So I try to
Yes.
encourage people um, to be
Yes.
transparent, because
Mhm.
I know that I have to work at it.
Exactly. And this is what I like that you said too, because a lot of people try to walk around and they try to act like, you know what, nothing's going on. I'm okay. But what you said is that it's hard. It's hard.
It really
And
is.
I used to always tell people it's as hard as you make it. And I believe that for myself. And I tell you why. I say it's hard, and it is as hard as you make it, because sometimes we just need to let go. And what Sean shared earlier in the earlier broadcast was that she had stuff with her childhood, and she said, "Yes, this is why. Why would I trust God? Why would I trust God? Because remember my childhood stuff." So a lot of us are dealing with childhood stuff, but we're also dealing with adulthood stuff. And sometimes we find trust hard. And so it makes it difficult for us to be transparent. But as we work on ourselves, that's the key. As we work
Mhm.
on ourselves,
Right.
it's easier to be transparent. So let me ask you this, because a lot of people, I'm sure, want to know, how did you work on yourself, getting you through the fear, getting you to the faith, and being able to stand when everything was falling down around you? How did you still work on yourself?
Wow. It is a constant process. Um, because I always tell people that, everybody has a story. But I didn't go through anything traumatic as a kid. Um, I didn't have like a difficult childhood.
Mhm,
So I don't feel like I have a story in that sense, but
mhm,
I feel like it doesn't make it any easier. Everybody still has to work on
mhm.
something. So I've had to work on it, um, studying, you know, um, and I backslide. I backslide a lot. But, fortunately, he's such a faithful person that
Mhm,
he helps to carry me. But I backslide.
mhm.
I spend a lot of time studying and worshiping and journaling, and then all of a sudden I don't, because I
Right,
backslide, and then I realize that, oh, I can do this on my own.
right,
We can't do it on our own. We can't. And I there's constant reminders around me that I need him, that we all need him, and that you have
right.
to put, trust in him, and he will
Mhm,
always come through. He will. But the world tells us that we can't do that,
mhm.
that we have to do it ourselves. The world says
Yes,
you have to um, study hard, you have to get the good job, you have to do all
right.
of those things. Well, the money, yeah, great, you do all of those things and you make a lot of money, but does the money make you any happier? No, we have
Whew.
proven that, right?
That's a powerful question. Does the money make you any happier? And that's one reason why I think so many people that have gained enormous success often gain enormous defeat before they
Yes.
walk into their abundance and step into their territory, because it's like a breaking. You have to kind of be broken to understand that you have to learn to lean, because it's hard to do it alone. You can't do it alone.
Yes.
I've heard some of the greatest speakers on the planet, like Oprah Winfrey, Neville Goddard, Napoleon Hill, um, Earl Nightingale, say you can't do it alone. You have to mastermind with someone in
Mhm.
order to get it. So,
Yeah.
can you talk to us briefly about why masterminding with God and others is so important?
Well, like I said, we all think that we can do it by ourselves, and I am the biggest offender. I don't want help with anything. If I've broken something, I get out of my way because I'm going to fix it myself. You know, uh, Michael always says, he's like, why do you get so frustrated with when you have trying? Because I know I can do it by myself, and I want to do it by myself. So that's part of my issue, is that I never wanted to lean on God because I could do it myself. And even when he was telling me to step out and leave my job, all I kept saying was, but I did this. I worked really hard in college. I have all these degrees. I did this. But then I realized that every statement I made, the word I started it.
Yes.
And the word I wasn't getting me anywhere.
Yes.
When I started changing my language to we
Yes.
were doing this. When I allowed him to help me or to guide me, we were doing it together. I was listening to him, but we were doing it. I had to put the I away because you can't do it alone. But again, backsliding. Sometimes I'm like, I did this or I deserve this. Well, do I? Do I really deserve this? What makes me different than anybody else? But we collectively deserve it. We can do this together. So
yes,
putting away the I and talking about the we.
So with that being said, those of you that are coming in, come on in, come on in. I see people still showing up. Come on in, come on in. I see Amy. Amy, good to see you. Thank you for coming in. Vince, thank you for coming in. So many of you, some I can't see, some are already showing up in the watch party. So thank you. Come on in, come on in. Tell a friend of me. Most importantly, though, like, share, and start a watch party. Share this to your page as we talk with the remarkable Rachel Arterberry, who is an amazing writer. She is talking to us tonight about how she went from fear to faith and wrote her wonderful book, God Was Holding My Hand. We've also talked about how faith opened so many doors because she was able to go from fear to faith. And because of her faith and believing in what many people call the impossible and turning it to possible, she was able to step into her territory because, she had the power of an overcomer. And she overcame. And so what she's sharing with us tonight is how she made sure that she looked at the things that was bothering her. She looked at her trust issues, having trust issues with God, having trust issues in herself and possibly other people as well. And then she learned that she couldn't do it alone. She couldn't do it alone. She needed somebody. She's got a super husband named Mike. He's a phenomenal speaker. And guess what? She realized she needed him to keep speaking into her life. Keep speaking. Have faith. Keep speaking. Don't give up. Have faith. Keep doing what you're doing. And we all need that. We all have to have someone to speak into our life so we don't give up. And that is called masterminding. And she just talked to us about why it's so important to have someone that you mastermind with. And so, Rachel, we have a question for you, and I'm going to put that question up here. And Angela wanted to know who is part of your mastermind. And so this question, folks, isn't just to Rachel. This question is to you. Who is in your mastermind? If you have someone in your mastermind, go ahead and put it in the comment below. Just put their name. If you don't want to put their full name, put their initials. Who's in your mastermind? I'm just like the commercial. What's in your wallet? Who's in your mastermind? So, Rachel, can you talk to us and tell us, one, who's in your mastermind and who could be in a person's mastermind?
Well, so, Michael and I are a team. So, Lotus, we can just share for a second. You and I met, we were at a conference in California, right? The three of us were at this conference, and Michael had told the presenter he was the one supposed to go, and he's like, well, I can't go if my wife doesn't go. And we were the only married couple there, but it was funny because we were a team. Michael, he's out front. He does the motivational speaking. He's out in front of people, and I do all the behind the scenes because that's where I'm comfortable. That's where I'm better. So, if you want to talk about mastermind, he he is my mastermind, and that we bounce each other ideas off of each other, and we support each other. And it takes a lot of hard work because it's teamwork, right?
Yes.
But everybody needs somebody to do that with, that's compatible, whether it's a spouse, a significant, a close friend. Even God is our mastermind too, right? Because we should be talking to him every day to say, what do I do today? I screwed up here. How do I fix this? Or, whatever we need to talk to him about. But everybody needs somebody that they can do that. And that's part of the trust thing too,
Yes.
where, because I always feel like I don't need anybody, I can do this on my own.
Yes.
Sometimes I don't allow people into my world of when it needs work, because there's always that feeling of I can do this on my own. So why do I need a mastermind? But we all do. We all need a team.
Awesome. So who could be on a person's mastermind? Like for me, I have a network of people that I work with, and so many of them are a part of my mastermind. There are people who are dynamic speakers, who are older than me and who are younger than me, who are in my mastermind and who are also my mentors. So it's super important to have a mentor. And we're going to touch on that in a moment. Right. But for me, I have my mother in my mastermind. I have my spouse in my mastermind. My sister is one part of one of my masterminds. I have Dr. Sandra Brooks, who is one of my mastermind partners, and so on and so on and so on. So could you tell us who could be a part of a mastermind?
Sure. So you mentioned some great things there. You said family members, your mom, your sister. You mentioned mentors. I think a mentor is a great thing. I have several I've had several throughout my career. I remember back in the days when I was working in the corporate world, there was a boss of mine who he was several years older than me, had a lot more experience, but he was part of my mastermind group because he directed me, he guided me. He didn't tell me how to do things. It was just somebody to bounce ideas off of. I think it's important that whoever you place in your mastermind group, it also requires trust and confidentiality. And there's certain characteristics that you need in somebody you're going to allow in your mastermind group. Again, confidentiality. You have to trust them, and just implicitly and intrinsically, they need to know, or you need to know and be comfortable that they're going to be steering you in the right direction and giving you sound advice.
So you got to trust them. So if you're masterminding with somebody, you want to make sure that you can trust them and that they're going to be giving you sound advice, because it's unequivocal that great mentors need mentors.
Yes.
So you need mentors that you can link with and that you believe in and that you can trust your confidence with them. Because a lot of times, I think, Rachel, we share things in our personal lives with our mentors that we may not ordinarily share with other people.
Absolutely.
So you got to trust them. And a lot of folks that have clergy members, your clergy members could also be masterminds. But I highly recommend, as Napoleon Hill says, your spouse unequivocally should be a part of your mastermind. And one of the reasons why is because your spouse is one of the closest people to you. And there's a lot of different things that goes on when you have a spouse. There's something called sex transmutation, which helps build your confidence. And in the later show, we'll talk about the book, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. I do a workshop on Think and Grow Rich where I lead a team with a team and help them to think and grow rich, because it's really all about what we think about. And trusting is a part of what we think about people. We either choose to trust or choose not to trust. And oftentimes it's predicated on the things that has happened in our life. So I want to dip right over for a minute and take a quick response by someone, people who can speak into your life without reservations. And that's good. Why do we need people that can speak into our lives without reservations and tell us the truth? Why do we need people like that, Rachel?
Oh boy, it's so empowering to have people around you that will tell you the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
if we all walked around here, with everybody just telling us what we wanted to hear, we would never improve. We would never have any increase. We would be stuck. We would not move forward at all, because nobody would tell us the truth. And there's probably lots of people out there that kind of walk through life thinking that they're one thing, but nobody had the guts to tell them otherwise. So it's really important that we have people around us that are there to speak to us without reservations.
That's awesome. And I also think because it also holds us accountable. It holds us
Yes.
accountable to do and be what we say that we are going to do and be. And I like what Sean said. I have an accountability partner. So Rachel, can you tell us about that? Why is it so important to have an accountability partner?
Well, of course, because it keeps us on track, keeps us on point, right? We all have a tendency to say, "Oh, I'll do it later," or to get
Yep.
lazy about it. So if you have somebody there that can hold you accountable, they'll be the ones to say, "You know what? You said you were going to do this, and you need to do it."
Yep.
A quick little example: the other night, I was working. I knew I had this project to get done, and it was like, I don't know, 9:30 at night, and I said, "You know what? I'm gonna put it off for the moment." And Michael said to me, he said, "But don't you have a deadline? Don't you have to get this done?" He was my accountability partner. He had heard my words and used it to remind me that, you have something to finish. But it was late. I was tired. Right? We have a million excuses, right? Uh, and we get in our own way. So I was getting in my own way. I was allowing my excuses to encourage me to listen to the little voice there and say, don't do it, don't, just don't finish because you're tired. Really, that's not a good excuse. So he was my accountability partner, and he'll say, yep, you should probably finish that. So everybody needs one or multiples, but only those people that are going to be truthful with you.
I want to say, folks, you don't want to make excuses. You want to make moves. And in
Yeah.
order to make moves, you have to have someone that's going to hold you accountable. Because if no one's holding you accountable to do the things that you need to do, like writing her book, she had to have someone to hold her accountable, because on those real tired nights, when the kids were crying, when things were just tough and not going her way, I would imagine that she had to have someone to help her not make excuses but make moves.
Absolutely.
And that's really critical. So let me move on down here. I think that it's critically important also when you have the accountability partner, when you have somebody in your life that's going to help you mastermind and you have great mentors. It's also great for you to have people within your circle who's done it.
Oh yeah.
So can you tell us why it's important to have people in your circle who's done it? Because you're an author of a book, you own your own company, you've worked in huge corporations, made loads and loads of money, and a lot of people haven't done what you've done, but they're looking for somebody to show them the way. So why is it important to have someone in your circle who's done it?
It's really important, Lotus, because we don't know anything, right? And when you're starting out in something, we're all babies, we're novice, we're baby Christians even. We don't know what we're doing, so we have to rely on seasoned people, those people that have gone before us.
Right.
There's so many people that I have connected with that I know I could call up and say, hey, you know what, I have this client and this is what they're asking me to do, can you help me? Because I don't know. We don't know everything. So it's really important for me that I connect with those people that have been there, that have done it, that have kind of forged the way, so to speak. And I learn from them. I kind of pick their brain and say, you know what? I know you did it this way. It may not work for me, but at least it'll give me an idea. It helps me to be creative.
Exactly. I love that. I love that because it helps you to be creative. It helps you to rise above to the next level. And I think so many of us are trying to get to the next level. And if you are trying to get to the next level, if you are trying to get to the next level, put down level in the comment below. Level in the comment below. Or if your keyboard not working or if your fingers don't want to act right, put a 4 in the comment below. Put a 4 in the comment below because we know that everyone needs great mentors and great mentors need great mentors. Great mentors need great mentors. Great mentors need mentors. Okay. And so I challenge you as we get to the top of the hour and we are here with our phenomenal guest, Rachel Arterbury. I got to tell you, don't hesitate to get your hand in the hand of the master with the plan, the master plan.
Right.
And don't forget to check out her book, God Was Holding My Hand, because it can really empower you when you have those moments when you're having fear and having dread, and you're trying to figure out how to go from fear to faith. Because, like she shared with us earlier, faith opened a better door for her. And faith can open a better door for you. And if you believe that faith can open a better door for you, go ahead and put faith down below. And if you haven't shared, liked, and started a watch party, start a watch party. Move into it right now. Don't make excuses, make moves.
That's right.
Okay?
Right.
Don't make excuses, make moves. So listen, Rachel, we are at the top of the hour and the time has flown by. Oh my goodness.
Absolutely. It
Oh
sure
my
did.
goodness. Oh my
That's what
goodness.
happens when you're having fun, Lotus.
Yes, yes. And I love it because we are telling people to be an entrepreneur and be in control of their own future, even when it looks like they can't. Because you had this high-powered job, you stepped out on faith, even though you were in fear. You stepped out of fear, you moved into faith, and now you are living more of your dream day in and day out. And I know that you're phenomenal and you can help people help themselves move into their best life. So while we're doing that, while we're getting ready to take some comments, I want to look at the comments. I want to share your link so that people know how to reach you. Okay. And I'm going to go. Wow. Look, we got several levels up. Dr. Tam, good to see you, Dr. Tam. Thank you, Angie, Faith, and Faith by Miss Sean Lovely Saxon. Thank you so much. And we have to continue to level up in our lives. And if you want to level up in your life, you want to write that book, but you never wrote a book or you don't know how, when you need help getting there, don't hesitate to reach out to Rachel Arterbury. She's phenomenal. She can help you. And it'll be cost effective. She's been in the business for a long time and she's great at it. She's great doing it. She's done it, and so can you. So, with that said, Rachel, what would you like to share with our guests as we begin to close this broadcast so that they know that they can make it, or other ways of how to contact you, or any old thing you want to say?
Sure. Well, thank you, Lotus, for this opportunity. It was great talking to your audience today. I just want to share that, I did it. And this whole journey was a real struggle for me. But if I can do it, anybody can do it. They put your faith in God, trust in Him, listen to Him. And if He's telling you to take a leap of faith, you need to listen because He knows what's best for you.
Awesome. So with that said, I will say this. If you need one-on-one coaching, we do it right here. We do it right here at Lotus Riché Ignites. If you need someone to lift you up, look right here on this broadcast every week, because I bring phenomenal guests on this show to help you help yourself ignite and take flight. And tomorrow we're going to have the remarkable Raymond Aaron. He is going to be on the show, and he is the person who is hosting the World Prosper Summit. It's a free online event. So make sure you join us. And with that being said, I want to say, don't stop. Don't stop what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing. And remember that you got to put your hand in the hand of the person who has the master plan for your life. Because God was holding my hand. God was holding her hand. So don't forget to get the book. And by the way, Rachel, you haven't told us where we can get the book. Where can we get the book?
Oh, right.
We need to get the book.
Important part. So it is available on Amazon.com. Just type in God Was Holding My Hands or my name, and you will get your book or ebook right there on Amazon.
Okay, fantastic. And also, folks, you can get my upcoming book that I co-authored with Rosemary Sanchez and a whole host of other folks. If you want my book, it's a pre-sale book. It's lotusricheignites@gmail.com. Just hit me up and I'll be happy to get my book in your hand. And for one-on-one coaching, don't forget to hit me up at Lotus Riché Ignites or lotusricheignites@gmail.com. And with that being said, make sure that you get your hand in the hand of the one that has the master plan for your life. And don't forget to go on Amazon and get her book, because if you don't get her book, you're not going to know all the other juicy stuff that she hadn't even shared with us yet. And I got to bring her back so she can share the juicier stuff with us. But an hour flies past so quickly. And so check out my man, Dr. Saxlove. Now, I don't own the rights to the music, but I put my hand on it. And so should you. Be blessed, and thank you so much. Go out, support Miss Rachel or Mrs. Rachel Arterberry, and get your hands on God Was Holding My Hand on Amazon. You're going to love it. Thank you again, and remember, ignite and take flight. We love you, and we'll see you next time. That's right.